How's it going, everyone? This is Daniel. In this video, we are going to be talking about SoFi stock and the overall stock market. We have earnings for SoFi coming up on Monday. We're going to go over and look at exactly the numbers that is expected. What kind of a price action can we expect from SoFi? We also going to go over what are some important economic reports coming out next week that can significantly affect the overall stock market and also SoFi too. So we're going to cover all this important information in detail in this video. So make sure you stay tuned. Now let's get right into the video. So as you can see over here, we're going to be looking at SoFi stock price action just to have things in perspective. So over, the last even like a month or 2 months, SoFi stock has definitely been going down. But when you look at the price action just going through time, within a day we're down 4.3%. 5 days we're down 5.5%. On the month we're down 14.2%. 6 months we're up 25.59%. And importantly, we got year to date, the stock is performing very well. We're up 52.67%. So it's definitely important to look at it from the bigger perspective of like year-to-date performance. The stock's actually not doing bad. And the last quarter, we see SoFi stock reaching all the way to 11.45%. I mean, $11.45 on July 31st after they announced earnings. And eventually the stock unfortunately went down. We've been getting a lot of changes from price target changes from analysts, and also the overall stock market will also performing pretty bad the last few days and last few weeks. So let's go over the overall stock market to see things in a bigger perspective. So overall, the overall stock market was down on Friday 0.45%. The last 5 days is down 2.11%. 1 month is down 3.93%. So this is pretty big. The overall stock market being down, 6 months, we're down 1.16, but year to date, we're doing pretty good. So for 2023, even though it seems like, the last few, even a month, few weeks, the stock market just seems like it's going down. But when you look at it from a bigger perspective, the market is actually doing pretty well, pretty good. Year-to-date performance, which is 7.84%. So definitely it's good to have this perspective going into the end of the year. So we still have some few months left to go for the end of 2023. So let's go over and look at exactly the expected move, what's expect for SoFi investors, for people that are interested in trading SoFi. So the earnings outlook for SoFi Tech right now, what are some important things to watch out for? So analysts are expecting SoFi Tech to report on earnings per share EPS of negative 0.07. And also we're expecting the company to raise guidance going into the future. So that's going to be really, really important because we've been getting a lot of positive news coming out for SoFi. We got the student loans resumption, payments resumption, even though we got some student loan cancellations, etc. that happened. And SoFi stock is also, like the users that are using SoFi, getting loans from SoFi has increased also. So the company's definitely growing its user base, its reach. We've been getting another stream of incomes that's diversifying the way that this company is generating the revenue, not only focusing on student loans. We have house loans, personal loans, and car loans. The company is definitely expanding to a lot of different areas so they can increase their revenue. So their guidance is going to be really, really important going into this earnings report, what they're going to say, because we're expecting some pretty awesome guidance. So historical performance, SoFi stock actually performs very well when the stock price, when they announce earnings, it gaps up, and unfortunately the next day the stock definitely tanks. That's where we've seen going back to the last several quarters for SoFi. So even last time, we see a massive move for SoFi. Unfortunately, the next day it goes down, and we get this analyst come out, and some of them, like, they raise their price target, some of them they decrease their price target going into this other quarters and going into the year. So that is pretty bad for SoFi. And also when you look at also another earnings, as you can see, the stock price goes up and then it just tanks. So unfortunately, you have to expect that this time actually performed very well. So definitely be on the lookout for that. SoFi stock is a stock that can actually perform very well when they announce earnings, but you have to be very super careful. If you're going to be trying to trade it like pretty quickly, in and out of trades. But I know the majority of people that watch the channel are definitely invested in SoFi for the long term. So what are some other important things to watch out for SoFi? So what are the expected move to expect for the earnings? So the expected move for the earnings is 18% either to the upside or to the downside. So depending on what they have to say, we expect at least $1.28 move to the upside. So that means if the stock price decides to rally to the upside, we could potentially see SoFi stock trading at $8. Or if we potentially see the stock price dropping, we might potentially see SoFi stock trading, at like $5. So that is definitely an area to watch out for. So 650, $5 is going to be the area to watch out for if it drops to the downside. But I don't think that we're going to be seeing that kind of a drop on SoFi. I think we could potentially be going up in the short term after they announce their earnings. Another important key thing to watch out for, as I mentioned, is we have a lot of economic data going into next week. So we know the earnings is coming up on Monday. After they announce, there is going to be a lot of economic data coming out that could significantly affect SoFi, and these economic data are going to significantly affect the overall stock market. So let's go over the economic data that we're going to be coming out this upcoming week. So we have on Tuesday, October 31st, we have the consumer confidence. We have employment cost index coming out. Wednesday, we have ADP employment, job openings, ISM manufacturing, and on the most important thing we have at 2 p.m., Fed Reserve decision on interest rates. Fed Chair Jerome Powell is going to have a press conference at 2:30 p.m. That's going to be pretty big. So a lot of eyes are going to be what he has to say. And also the stock market is definitely going to be going up or down, and it's going to be very volatile. And also on Thursday, we have initial jobless claims data coming out. We also have on Friday, U.S. non-farm payrolls unemployment rate. Those are going to be also some important data to watch out for going into next week. And this is really important because last week we had companies that actually announced earnings and their stock performed very well. Let's say, for example, Netflix, we had a pretty massive gap up that happened for the stock. The stock went up from $350 to $400, and unfortunately, the overall market was selling off. It could not sustain some of the gains that it made. It was trying to go up, but the overall market was just pushing it down. We also had Microsoft that announced earnings. The stock performed very well. It went from 331 all the way to 345, and unfortunately it sold off aggressively because the overall stock market is just definitely in a downtrend right now in the short term. As I mentioned, year to date, we're actually pretty good. We're up above 7%, but in the short term, we're seeing some decline in the stock market. We had the GDP numbers that came out for the US came in at 4.9%, so that was pretty massive. So it's going to be a lot of eyeballs going into this next Fed meeting that's going to be announced on Wednesday, what the Fed's going to be doing, Fed Jerome Powell, what it's going to be doing. So just to summarize what we just talked about, earnings coming up on Monday. We'll see if SoFi is going to go up either 18% to the upside to the downside, and they're expected 0.06 EPS. That's going to be the data that they're expecting. And if we get a surprise on their guidance, the stock price can potentially definitely going to be reacting to the news. And we have a lot of economic data coming out next week. So even if we gap up, highly dependent upon what the overall stock market is going to be doing for SoFi. As you can see, SoFi has been following the overall market. It's been trending lower and lower. And unfortunately, we broke down of the important support that we are looking at around $7, $8 of support we were looking at in the past. We broke it down. We recovered. Unfortunately, now the price that we're looking at is around the stock to either go up to $8 or potentially drop to around $6. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about SoFi stock? Where are we going to be heading? What are your expectations going into next week? I'd love to hear your opinion. Of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notification bell. If I catch you guys on another video, have a wonderful day.